Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing Systems, the best option in roofing no matter which of his systems you go with. If you want the best looking roof possible for your mansion, yeah, Daniel does those. If you want a cost-effective roofing option for your starter home, Daniel does that too. He's as conscientious a guy as you'll ever meet in terms of being a contract guy. It's unbelievable. He did some work for somebody that's a family member of mine this week. Went out and visited with him. They called me and said, man, he's the nicest guy in the world. Call Daniel Hood Roofing Systems. Find out why we like having him on this show. Find out why I believe in his business. Give him a shout. All right. Two big decisions were made this offseason by Jeremy Pruitt, or more than that, but two we'll focus on. I want to do some hindsight here. First of all, he handed out one-year scholarships to grad transfers Keller Christ and Madre London specifically. Brandon Kennedy got another one, but you get another year out of Kennedy. In hindsight, you're sacrificing, and we just talked about recruiting, and I'm saying over-recruit linemen like crazy. In hindsight, you gave up 4-year scholarships that you could sign out next spring to get these guys in here for a year. Was that the right call or the wrong call in hindsight?
Well, I think it depends. It's a case by case. So you don't feel bad at all. The injury to Brandon Kennedy notwithstanding, you don't feel bad about going after an offensive lineman because as we've clearly established on this show, that was a position where you needed help. So, and he may be able to get the year of eligibility back. So he could ultimately still help them down the road and be the offensive lineman that they might miss on this recruiting class with because of him. Madre London's the one, I think, the running back where you maybe question, did we really need him in this offense?
Because you have depth at running back anyway.
I'll go with Keller Christ. I question that as well. Kennedy was the only one that made sense because you had 2 years coming out of him. So that made more sense. But the other two, you weren't going to be a good football team. If one of these guys or both of those guys, you go, okay, that takes us from 5-7 to 6-6 or 7 or 5, okay. What has their contribution been, and how many people expected their contribution to be greater when they first came? So I think that's two bad mistakes that they made.
I think the Christ thing, let's say that Garantano gets hurt and you go to Christ. How much worse would your record be if you went to Will McBride?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't think your record's going to be really good at the end of this year unless they really turn things around.
Yeah.
So to me, I would have rather had those scholarships, those two scholarships, next fall. Now, where you have to excuse them is if they thought this team would be better than it's turned out to be.
Yeah, and also at quarterback, I wonder at the end of the spring, would they have still made that decision? Because you're going after a quarterback before you go through spring practice for the first time with Jarrett Garantano. Tennessee was also affected by Adrian Martinez deciding to go to Nebraska because he would have been an early enrollee. You would have had him on campus. So I think even after the spring they might have said maybe we could have taken a different approach.
Another decision he made was to call his own defense. In hindsight, I didn't have a problem with it at the time. Now I'm wondering if it might not have been better for him to keep focus on the entire team this first year. A lot of guys do what he did, so it's not a huge red flag. And again, I agreed with it at the time. I said rip the Band-Aid and go ahead and learn. But I wonder now, he's made some comments about, well, I've got to work with the offense more. Well, I need to learn to manage my time with the offense more. Well, I should have noticed this. So to me, maybe it would have been better if he took the big picture approach rather than calling defense signals this year. Agree, disagree?
I don't know. Jeremy Pruitt is a coach. He is a defensive coach. That's why he is here. This is what he does. You see him on the practice field. He is hands-on. You can't take that away from him. He's not. That's just who he is. I don't foresee him ever giving up that responsibility. That is so much a part of what makes him who he is.
Am I cavaliering the question if I say ask me after the Auburn game and see if he's drawn up a good enough game plan on the field? I get why he did it. That is one though I wonder, and I'm curious the offensive involvement, how much that affects it over the course of this season.
10 seconds.
No problem. I don't have a problem with a defensive guy calling his own defense.
All right, very good. Gus Malzahn will be feeling the heat this week. There's no question. Auburn fans will be calling for his head. Question is, does that help Tennessee or hurt Tennessee? Will that focus Auburn, or will they be distracted when Tennessee gets down there next Saturday? We'll discuss. Come on back.